When a cat comes close to you, seemingly out of nowhere, it may appear like a simple coincidence. But as believers, we know that in the grand design of Allah, nothing is ever random. Not a leaf falls without His knowledge. Not a drop of rain touches the earth unless He commands it. So when even a small creature like a cat walks up to you, rubs itself against you, sits by your side, or just looks at you quietly, this too is happening by Allah's will. Allah tells us in the Quran that He is fully aware of all things. Every moment in your life has meaning. The people you meet, the places you go, even the animals you encounter, all of it is written. So instead of brushing off such an incident, ask yourself, what is Allah showing me? Sometimes we're so caught up in our routine that we forget to reflect. But when an innocent creature walks into our space, it forces us to pause, even for a moment. That pause is powerful. It may be Allah's way of shifting your attention, pulling you out of your stress, anger, or distraction. That moment could be a divine interruption to help you remember that He is in control. It's not about the cat, it's about what Allah is telling your heart through the cat. Perhaps you were just about to commit a sin. You were angry or harsh or about to make a poor choice. And suddenly, this harmless animal stands before you, looking at you without judgment. That's not just coincidence. Allah can place subtle blocks in our way when we are drifting. He may send a soft, harmless creation to calm your rage, soften your heart, or redirect your thoughts. Allah does not need to speak to you directly in words. He controls the entire universe and can communicate through signs, events, people, and yes, even animals. Many people ignore these moments, but the spiritually awake person sees Allah's hand in everything. He knows that just as the Prophet told us that a man was forgiven for giving water to a thirsty dog, that act was seen and loved by Allah. So when a cat comes to you, know that this is not a meaningless encounter. It is part of your qadar, your destiny. It may not be a huge event, but it can carry a big lesson. Even the smallest moment in your day is crafted by the most wise. Recognizing that reality can turn a simple moment into a spiritual reminder. When a cat approaches you, it is more than just an animal seeking food, shelter, or comfort. It is a quiet reminder from Allah of the beautiful creation He has placed around you. Allah is the creator of all living things, big and small, seen and unseen. A cat coming close to you is a reflection of Allah's artistry, His mercy, and a call for you to connect with that divine softness. You see, the way we treat animals says a lot about the state of our heart. And Allah, who is our Rahman, the most merciful, loves when His servants reflect even a portion of that mercy in their dealings with others, including animals. The Prophet Muhammad has said, "Show mercy to those on earth, and the one above the heavens will show mercy to you." This hadith isn't limited to human beings. It includes the weak, the voiceless, the animals, the birds, all of creation. When a cat comes near you, Allah might be reminding you to check your heart. Are you kind? Are you gentle? Do you show care without expecting something in return? Because this animal cannot thank you in words, cannot repay you with money. It only offers you the opportunity to show mercy purely for the sake of Allah. And sometimes that's what Allah wants from you, sincere, selfless compassion. Moreover, it's an invitation to humility. Sometimes we become so proud, so consumed by our problems, our goals, our status, that we forget the vulnerable ones around us. When a cat brushes against your feet or lies near you, it reminds you to lower your wings of kindness, to soften your gaze, to recognize that part of your duty as a believer is to be a source of safety for every living creature. The Prophet A warned us about a woman who went to hell for imprisoning a cat, not feeding it, nor letting it go free to eat. This shows how seriously Islam views the treatment of animals. It's not a side issue, it's part of your deen. So maybe Allah is reminding you to reconnect with the purest parts of your nature. To remember that you too are a creation of Allah, and that the heart is most alive when it gives mercy, not just receives it. And maybe through this brief, quiet encounter with one of His creatures, Allah is training you to be more aware, more gentle, more alive spiritually. Because when you respond to a cat with kindness, you're not just feeding an animal, you're feeding your soul. In that simple moment, you are echoing the attribute of Rahman in a small but meaningful way. And perhaps in showing love to one of Allah's creations, you draw nearer to the love of the Creator Himself. When a cat approaches you looking for food, warmth, or even just a bit of attention, it's not just an animal in need. It's an opportunity sent by Allah to remind you of the value of kindness and generosity. You see, animals like cats don't come to you with expectations. They don't bring any titles or social value. They're not going to praise you, and they won't remember your name, but Allah knows. And perhaps in feeding that cat, or even acknowledging its presence with gentleness, you're performing an act of charity that becomes beloved to your Creator. We often think charity must come in the form of money or large gestures, but Islam teaches us that even the smallest act done with sincerity can become a mountain of reward. The Prophet Muhammad told us of a man who was forgiven by Allah simply because he gave water to a thirsty dog. That act, seen by no one, praised by no one, was noticed by Allah. So when a cat comes near you and looks up with silent hope, it could be that Allah is inviting you to do a deed that will weigh heavily on your scale in the hereafter. Don't underestimate it. This moment also reminds us of sustenance, rizq, and the one who provides it. You may think that you are feeding the cat, but in truth, you are just a means. The true provider is Allah. That cat was written to be fed, and Allah allowed it to find you. So while you may be the hand that gives, always remember that the source is Allah, and this event reminds you of His control over all sustenance, yours and the cat's. Allah is our Razak, the provider, and in that moment, He is using you to fulfill a need in one of His creations. Sometimes we go through days where we feel spiritually distant. We miss prayers, we feel disconnected, we're surrounded by distractions. And then Allah gives us a small, Simple chance to reconnect, not through grand gestures, but through basic mercy. A cat coming to you can be that reset. It can be a test. Will you respond with compassion, or will you shoo it away without a second thought? Will you take the moment to realize Allah is testing your character? Even the most basic moments in our day can carry spiritual weight if we look deeper. And what's beautiful is that this is not just a one-time test. It's a habit of the heart. Every time you choose to give, you're training your soul to be generous. Every time you pause to care for a small creature, you're aligning yourself with the values Allah loves. You're not just helping a cat. You're nurturing your own compassion, planting seeds for your akira. So don't let the simplicity of the moment fool you. That cat might just be a silent messenger, a test of your generosity, and a pathway to Allah's mercy. There are times in life when we feel completely alone. The world feels heavy, and we carry emotional burdens that no one else can see. In these moments, words fail, people may not understand, and even our own hearts become quiet. And then, suddenly, a cat appears. It sits by your side, rubs itself against you, curls up near your feet, or just looks at you with calm, blinking eyes. To most, it may seem like nothing. But to a believer who pays attention, this can be a gentle whisper from Allah, a sign that He is near, that He sees you, and that He can send comfort in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes Allah sends comfort through people, a kind word, a hug, a message. But other times He chooses something completely outside of human interaction, a breeze, a bird, or a small animal. Why? Because it humbles you. It reminds you that the one who controls the heavens and the earth is capable of sending peace through even the simplest creature. A cat sitting next to you might not say anything, but it communicates a calmness, a softness, and a sense of presence that words can't replicate. It may be Allah's way of giving you a moment of quiet, healing when everything inside you feels unsettled. The Prophet Muhammad once said that there is a reward for serving every living creature. But sometimes it's not just about what you do for the animal, it's what the animal does for you. In your loneliness, in your sadness, that creature's presence becomes a comfort. And that comfort is a gift. Allah is Al-Latif, the most subtle, and His ways of easing the human heart are beyond what we can understand. He knows what you need, even when you don't. You may not have asked for company, but He sent it. You may not have had the strength to ask for peace, but He placed a creature in your path that brings it. We must learn to see with the eyes of the heart. When you are down and a cat walks up to you and simply stays, don't dismiss it. Allah knows your condition. Perhaps in your dua, you asked for relief, for a sign, for a little bit of comfort. And this is it. Not in the form you expected, but in the form you needed. That cat may have been guided to you just to ease your pain without even knowing it. It may be Allah's way of reminding you, I am with you, even now. In a world full of noise, sometimes Allah sends silence. And in that silence, a cat becomes a friend, a gift, a sign. Through that small moment, Allah may be bringing your heart back to Him, showing you that He hasn't forgotten you, that He hears the cries you didn't say out loud. One of the most revealing aspects of a person's character is how they treat those who can do nothing for them in return. The poor, the weak, the voiceless, and even animals. When a cat comes near you, Allah may be presenting you with a quiet test, not of your strength or intellect, but of your heart. This helpless creature can't defend itself, can't complain if you hurt it, and can't reward you if you help it. It is completely dependent on your mercy. And in that moment, Allah is watching. Will you act with pride and irritation, or will you respond with humility and compassion? Many people display kindness when it is convenient or when it benefits them. But true goodness is what you do when no one is watching, when you have power over something or someone, and you choose to act with gentleness. A cat brushing against your leg or seeking shelter near you is a subtle invitation from Allah to check your ego. It's a reminder that your actions toward the smallest of creatures reflect the state of your soul. How you behave toward the weaker than you tells Allah more about your real character than any speech or show of religiosity ever could. The Prophet Muhammad taught us through his own example how to be merciful. He was never harsh, even with animals. He instructed his companions not to overburden their camels, not to kill creatures unnecessarily, and not even to curse animals. He told us about a woman who entered hell for mistreating a cat. She neither fed it nor let it go to find food. That story may seem minor to some, but it holds a major lesson. Allah takes the rights of every living creature seriously, even those we tend to overlook. So if a cat crosses your path and you choose to kick it away, ignore it with cruelty, or act as though it's beneath your attention, that moment is being recorded. It's not just about the cat. It's about what's inside your heart. Do you view yourself as superior above giving attention to something small and fragile? Or do you lower yourself, not in humiliation, but in humility, because you know that Allah loves those who are humble? And if you choose kindness, even in such a small instance, Allah might elevate you. That one gentle stroke, that simple act of offering food, or that quiet decision to let the cat rest near you could become a deed that earns you Allah's mercy. Perhaps on the day of judgment, when you are in need of a single good deed to tip the scale, it will be the way you treated a stray cat that comes to your rescue. Never underestimate the tests that come wrapped in silence. They are often the ones that weigh the most in the sight of Allah. In the middle of a fast-paced world filled with distractions, deadlines, noise, and endless screens, it becomes easy to drift through life without truly reflecting. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sometimes sends you a small sign to pause and reflect. One of those subtle signs could be a cat quietly sitting beside you or walking into your path. It might seem insignificant to most, but to the believer whose heart is alive, this can be a divine invitation to slow down, breathe, and reconnect with the Creator. We live in a time where many people are disconnected, not just from others, but from themselves and from their Rabb. Days go by without a moment of true stillness. But then Allah places a small creature in your space, one that isn't talking, isn't demanding, but just is. That presence can awaken something within you. It reminds you of Allah's creation, of the beauty of simplicity and the necessity of being mindful. You see, every creation of Allah is a reflection of His power. That cat, with its gentle movements and calm eyes, is a living sign that Allah is the creator of all things, the giver of life, and the sustainer of every soul, even a stray animal. When you take a moment to notice this, to really observe this quiet creation, it naturally brings your heart back to Dhikr. The remembrance of Allah. Maybe you whisper, Subhanallah, or you think about how Allah created such a soft, gentle being and how He placed it in your life in that exact moment. That alone is worship. That awareness is a sign of spiritual presence. And perhaps this small interaction is a subtle wake up call. Have you remembered Allah today? Have you looked around at His signs? Have you paused to thank Him, to glorify Him, to reflect on His greatness? Not every reminder from Allah comes through loud events. Sometimes it's a small moment, a cat walking into your room, sitting beside your feet, or watching you quietly. It's in that stillness that your heart has a chance to speak again, to feel again. It may push you to make wudu, to pray, to say astaghfirullah, or simply to say alhamdulillah. That moment, though seemingly small, could be the turning point for your day, your thoughts, or even your spiritual state. Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He does not send anything without purpose. If He allowed this creature to cross your path, it's because there is a message in it for you. Perhaps you needed to be reminded that Allah sees you, that He controls all things, and that He is close even when you feel distant. And perhaps this little moment is just enough to draw you back into remembrance, back into gratitude, back into love for your Lord. In conclusion, when a cat comes close to you, it's never just a random moment. It's a subtle, beautiful reminder from Allah. Through that one small creature, Allah may be teaching you something profound. He may be softening your heart, testing your character, offering you a chance for reward, or simply reminding you that He is near and always watching. These encounters are not to be taken lightly. They are gentle whispers from the divine, calling you to pause, reflect, show mercy, and reconnect with your soul and your Creator, whether the cat is seeking food, comfort, or simply passing by. The way you respond matters in the sight of Allah. Your kindness, your awareness, your willingness to see Allah's signs in the smallest of things, all of it is written and weighed. So don't rush through life ignoring these quiet lessons. Be the kind of believer whose heart is awake, who recognizes that even the smallest creation has a purpose, and that even a brief moment can become a doorway to Allah's mercy